best bites forever.
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Best Bites Forever. In this video, I am making this delicious potato frittata. I know you're going to love it, so let's rock it out. The first thing that I'm going to do is cut up some bell peppers. Today, I happen to be using these little baby bell peppers, but you can use the large ones too if that's what you happen to have lying around. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of dice them up a little bit, and these little tips are going to go to my awesome tortoise in my backyard. Moving right along, I'm going to cut up my potatoes. So I'm just going to remove any bad spots that I see on the outside, and then I'm going to lay him flat and cut it into planks. Then I'm going to take each of those and stack them on top of each other and cut like French fry kind of shapes, and then turn them the opposite way and dice them up. I'm looking for about that size. So here in this pan, I have about a tablespoon of bacon grease. You can use olive oil or canola oil or whatever you want to use, but you all know that I keep bacon grease every time I make bacon. Anyway, I put a cup of onions in there, and yes, my onions are frozen, and that's because I got this big old bag from Costco, and I knew I wasn't going to use the whole thing, so I just chopped it up and I froze them a cup at a time. I'm going to go ahead and add some salt and pepper, and then cook those until they start to get a little bit of color. And then I'm going to add in my bell peppers. So I put in 1 cup of bell peppers along with my cup of onions. By the way, this is enough to make 2 of these frittatas because my family loves them. So I usually just make the potatoes, and then 2 days later I make another frittata. So anyway, I have added in a little bit more kosher salt and a little bit more fresh black pepper. And then I'm going to add my potatoes on top of that. So for, again, double the recipe for 2 frittatas, I'm adding 7 cups of potatoes. Of course, you can totally cut this recipe in half, no big deal. You also see me layering the salt in between each addition of the potatoes. That's just because they are not going to be really super easy to stir once I have them all in this pan. So I wanted to use this size pan though because I want them to steam. So we'll get to that in just a second. A little more salt and pepper on the top, and then I'm going to give these a nice little stir, make sure that they're as coated as I can get them, and then I'm going to add in 3/4 of a cup of water. I want to put a lid on this and put this, well, on number 4 on my stove, so like a medium low kind of heat. It's going to take about 25 minutes for them to get nice and soft, but you do want to stop halfway through at about the, 12 to 15 minute mark and give them a little stir and make sure that you still have water on the bottom. If at that halfway mark you don't, just add a little bit of water. In a separate skillet, I have my nice hot bacon grease here. Once again, that's just going to give it a really nice little flavor. And I'm going to add my potatoes directly in there. I do want to leave a little bit of space because I want my eggs to be able to get on top of the potatoes and kind of get in between them as well. So I have 6 eggs here. I did add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper to the eggs before I poured them in. And then I'm just going to kind of tuck my little potatoes down in there because I don't want them to burn in a minute when we put them under the broiler. So that is actually what a frittata is it is a way of cooking. You start off on the stove and then you put it in the oven to finish cooking. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of cheese. And by the way, I have my heat on like pretty low right now, like number 2.5. That's going to let my sides and my bottom set up without burning. So once you can see the sides starting to set up and you can kind of move it without it pouring everywhere, it's time for it to go under the broiler on low. I have mine on the very top shelf, low heat. It took about 2.5 minutes to get this beautiful golden brown on top. Don't forget to put a pot holder on the handle so you don't accidentally grab it because it will definitely burn you. It was just in the oven. Anyway, it is time to cut this bad dude up and see what it looks like. So here we go. Hopefully, if you did things right, it shouldn't really be sticking to the bottom. So the trick to that is to make sure that your pan is nice and hot when you add those potatoes in, and when you add those eggs in, you want a nice hot pot to be doing it in. So here we go, the first piece, which I am crushing just a little bit. Poor guy, that's okay. But there he is, and as you can see, pretty clean pan going on there. I'm going to go ahead and top it with a little bit of sour cream and green onions, which is absolutely delicious, and it is ready to serve.